Hi folks, Paddy here. After a day's rest and reflection and a walk on Duckmore Beach to clear the head after a few of the creamy ones the night before, just to get us back to reality again, just like to say a few words about the Culligan family and the reason I done this cycle. This was for my good friend Paddy Culligan. It was a dream I had over 12 months ago, and it came to fruition and completed it 2 days ago without a scratch or without a puncture. There's definitely a man above there looking down us outside of Paddy Culligan, and I know he was there a couple of days when I had to dig deep, shall we say, search for the hero inside myself, as the song goes. But anyway, Paddy was a great gentleman of life, and that was really proved up in Lewisburg with the warm welcome we received in there from all the O'Malley's, neighbours, friends, family, people who provided food. It was just unreal. Wasn't expecting that kind of welcome, but that's how that man was held, the esteem he was held in up there. The same as in Killimer, when we arrived the other day at the graveyard, the spread they had, tea, coffee, sandwiches, everything, and the amount of people that showed up, just how well this man was liked. To the O'Malley family and immediate and nephews and nieces, especially nephews that cycled with me, Jamie down in West Cork, but a day when I was really hurting, and then one thing, as the man says, that man picked me up, and the day afterwards again we taken on Achilles. There was a couple of nice climbs up there, and that man dragged me all the way along, and we had a sprint finish, you could say, nearly from Kinmare back into Sneem against the wind, and he was dragging me, as the man says, and thanks for that, Jamie, and to all the O'Malley family. Also to all the Culligans and Mike Culligan, Paddy's brother, who drove the road with me first half of it, and also to my good friend Charlie Walnut, who drove the first half with me. Thank you, Charlie, work colleague from Kilrush. Really appreciate that, and took 2 days of your time and nights to go with me. But Michael, who has made it down in the thing and who was very busy at this minute in time because of COVID and work commitments, but he still made it his business, himself and his son, to come down on the last day. And also his sister Anne and Mary, John, also came down. So I just like to thank all those people and the two families and for their backup, and also my own family for the backup they gave me as well, meeting me along the route and helping me out organise things, and Timmy, my brother, which done tail first and last day, which is a tough old job because you're going very slow, and that I'd like to thank all of those. And again, folks, this event wouldn't have been possible but for the promotion of all the people that drove it on Facebook, all the sports celebrities, and particularly Michael Flatley, and to all the people on the route and the different communities, including my own community of Dunbeg, who come in behind me from the start and at the very finish again, and were wishing me good wishes along the way, and also the people that came out around the country, the people that supplied the tea, coffee, sandwiches, particularly Tina, and also her great hands for those few rubs she gave me on the calves, and she's going into a new line of business going forwards and the thing. Also like to thank Gavin Grace and Clare FM for their great publicity and promoting it. The people of the county, they kept them informed. Not everybody's on Facebook. I wasn't up until this event, and a few months' time I tell the tale to whether I'll be still on it or not. Then I'd like to thank all my sponsors, particularly the ones that done the jersey and all the sponsors and the money that came from overseas. Trump International done big. Joe Russell, one of the first men I went to, and he backed me to the hilt all the way and done so many things, arranged accommodation, complimented us on the thing at the country. Also had a champagne reception when I arrived in Dunbeg, being pipered in by the great John McMurdoch, a neighbour of mine, and that was very, shall we say, sentimental thing. When you hear that pipe music, it gets the hairs in your neck standing, as the man says, which I wouldn't be too used to. So I think it wasn't about me, it was for the cause and the amount of people that suffer from cancer or that are sick, and hopefully this money will benefit people down the road, and all that. Also to the stewards and Tommaso Flaherty, the great work he done and the driving he done in his motorbike to be with me, I think 6 or 7 days overall, and to all the Aircom drivers and Air themselves for giving me the van, the backup van, which wouldn't be possible without them, and particularly the drivers that give of their own time, free time, former colleagues, and then the cyclists, some former colleagues as well that work with me cycling, came up to Donegal, Tom Nestor and Joe McMahon. Also the Linda Coleman, our PR woman in Doonbeg, she gave this great promotion as well to our overseas members, and a lot of them have been coming good. I'm looking at the Facebook there, names that not coming to my mind, but it has been good, and we're getting there. The other thing is, this couldn't be possible but for my IT person Mary Kern, and also my niece Roisin Kelly, who was feeding her with something, and I suppose but for the man in front of me here, Michael O'Doherty, my director of operations, this wouldn't have happened from the get-go, and with most of 12 months of preparation and planning, and thanks Michael, appreciate it. Also to Johnny McCarthy, a good friend of mine, who came in behind me and came to meet me on a day when we were down a vehicle to bring back my wife and one of the cyclists, also who has collected a lot of money for me and who has been cycling with me and encouraging me, which is a big thing when you have people believing in you. Like there was other people that were asking me questions about whether the legs would last for 19 days. That was never an issue. I had 12 months work put in. It was maybe there was a few lights coming on in the dash a few days upstairs, all right, and a bit of a disconnect one day with a couple of the legs, but outside of that I'd never worry. And last but not least, a man I have worked with for years in races and walking and running, James Sexton. What a great man again, of his time, and back to greet me into Kilkee and Doonbeg, and has been there and has collected money and has been putting me out to all his athletes, which he has probably a couple of thousand emailed people there he's emailing every week, and they've all contributed as well, and thank you, James. And folks, by the way, this event wouldn't have been possible but for all the help I got along the way from the different cyclists in different counties, in different parts of the country, from going up the west. Day one we had girls down from Louisburgh that cycled from Doonbeg to Louisburgh. One of them was the niece of Paddy's wife Anne, and also up to Donegal with other cyclists that came out, people who went across Northern Ireland, back down the east, down to the west. People came from Innistyme and it got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be down in Sneem for 8 o'clock cycling, and they were there at 7 o'clock. We weren't cycling until 8, and that was a nice day, and one of the days I probably struggled a bit if I hadn't these guys and what they gave of their time, and also came another day as well with me. But again, I'd just like to thank all those cyclists. It would have been a lot more difficult. I would have done it, but I wouldn't be as fresh as I am today if I hadn't the help and the encouragement and the fun and laughter that we had on the way. And now, folks, last but not least, the GoFundMe page and money is going well. At this minute in time, we're over 40k. We're heading in the direction of my goal, which is 50. I would imagine at this point in time there's a good lot to come back that will exceed the 50, but that was my goal from day one. I'd said it from the start that I wouldn't rest in my resting place in Clahans when I'm going to be buried if I didn't hit the 50k. That was my aim, and it's looking good. There was maybe one person I really haven't mentioned too much down to the thing. She was very modest, my wife Geraldine, who has given me great help through all of this. When I came home the evening, 2 days after Paddy Culligan being buried, when I got this dream first and I said I was going to do this cycle around Ireland, she said, you should, that's what you should do, and I did. And but for her encouragement, and it's not the 19 days, it's the last 12 months, and the amount of gear, and when I leave stuff out of my hands I can't find it again. But in fairness, everything is in a place with her, and the washing and the going and the preparation that she had done, and also came down to Castletown Bay to finish off the last few days with me when I really needed somebody, when aching in certain departments, undercarriage and all that kind of business that goes with it. She acted as the nurse, and thank you for that, Geraldine, and to all Geraldine's family who helped out as well and came out and who have contributed and donated. The GoFundMe page, folks, is still going until the 30th of September when we'll close the book. Sometime into October then we'll have a presentation out someplace, not decided yet. or whatever. We'll count up things. And again, just thanks to everybody. The thing, if I left anybody out, it's probably a small little bit of brain deadness. The head has been a bit, shall we say, hazy over the last few days due to maybe too much creamy stuff at night time. But anyway, thanks again, folks, to everybody. Hope I didn't leave anybody out.